Good morning, happy people. Today is Wednesday, November 5th, 2025, and we are going to be live trading NASDAQ futures, maybe some S&P futures as well, because that seems to be faring a little better after the AI sell-off that's been going on the past couple days. But if you want to see how I go ahead and try to get funded on my Top Step account here that I started yesterday, please stay along for this live feed. I typically day trade. I've been doing this full-time for probably 3 years now. I've been trading for 15 years, part time outside of that. So, yeah, if you want to see how I do it, feel free. Again, this is not financial advice. This is just getting to spectate over my shoulder what I do and how I do it. I tend to do a lot of options trading very successfully every year, and I'm trying to get into the futures market a little bit more because it allows me to get a little different leverage and exposure with 23-hour trading versus options, which is only from 9:30 till 4. So yeah, let's just dive in and try to cover as much stuff as possible. If you have any questions when you tune in, if you do tune in while I'm live streaming, please go ahead and drop it in the comments. I'll do my best to answer it. My plan is to do a little pre-market analysis right now, right out of the gate, so you guys can take a gander at what I'm looking at and understand what I'm looking for in the market today. I have my news feed over here. I use financialjuice.com. If you're not familiar with it, check it out, financialjuice.com. I have the free plan. It works great. I don't trade down to the second, so I don't see the need to pay for the premium plan. But I just take the 5-second delay and get the news. So anyways, if you see me looking over here, it's because I'm watching the news ticker. And if you see me looking over here, I'm actually trading. If you see me looking at you, then I'm looking at you. Pretty easy, right? All right, so here's what I got going on. I started a $50,000 trading combine last night because the market, this is yesterday, the market was just doing this major sell-off. All of these blue lines are my pre-marked levels that I go through and I mark where it bounces and changes direction. So this is the 1 hour time frame, and this is the channel that it was trading up, and then it started crashing down. I am doing this on a funded account. I do this with my personal money as well, but I'm not going to live stream that because I like to focus a little differently on that. This is a more aggressive play when it's a funded account, or trying to get funded in this case because I just started this account. So let's see here. This is basically what I'm looking at. It came down to this level last night, and that's where I was able to make $582. I took a short position on it. Let me bring it back to the 5-minute. Come on, load. It's weird. Never seen Top Step do that. There we go. All right. Last night, after the session ended, around 6 o'clock, I saw it had broken through one of my previous levels. It came back up here at closing, and then it fell below here. And this blue line is VWAP, the volume weighted average price. I saw it was staying below that, so I took a short position right in here, and I wrote it down to here. So I was able to make $582. If you're not familiar with Top Step, I have to get this $50,000 up to $53,000. And if it goes below $48,000, then I lose the option. I have to do a reset on the account. If I get to $53,000, they allow me to activate the account and actually get funded, at which point I can grow it back up to another $53,000, and then I can start taking withdrawals. Actually, I can take it before I get to 53,000, but that's a whole nother thing for a whole nother video. So if you want to check out Top Step, I'm not affiliated with them in any way other than being a customer at this moment. So if you want to check them out, check out topstep.com. Yeah, see, I like their trading platform more than any of the other ones I've done in the past, just because of the flexibility, being able to use hotkeys. So I can set up a $500 to $1,500 automatic profit. I can lock myself out if I needed to. And if you've never done day trading, it's emotional control. That's all it really is when it boils down to it. Making educated guesses and having defined parameters, because at the end of the day, it's just math. If the math doesn't add up, if you're losing more than you're making, you're going to go broke, right? So you have to follow a constraint, a mathematical equation that is emotionless. And you enter a position willing to risk so much money. And if you lose it, you lose it. You move on. There's no emotional baggage that goes with it. And you wait for the next setup and you take it. And then you let it play out. And if it's statistically better, if you're winning more than you're losing, you're going to make a profit, right? It's really simple, but it's hard to execute for newbies. So we can dive deeper into that if this live stream continues to grow. Okay, back to what I was saying. Pre-market analysis came back down, had a good bounce off of this key level. I wanted to show you that in this 1 hour chart. This was a very key level that it bounced off of. You could see it had major rejection here. But then when it broke through it, it came back down, and there are just a lot of buyers and sellers in this little area. I was thinking last night when it broke through there, we might be channel locked down here today. I'm glad to see that we're not. I'm glad to see that we got a little bounce back up. What I will be looking for is how it reacts to some of these news events that are coming up today. Got quite a few here. What do we got? Employment change. That's going to be a big one. The Treasury, PMI. Okay, so yeah, we got quite a few things coming up. It is 9 a.m. Eastern time. I'm located on the East Coast in Knoxville, Tennessee, just outside it. So we got some news coming up on that. Let's see here. What else we got? Yeah, that's all coming up here in about 15 minutes. We'll have the first U.S. ADP employment change. All right. So with the news coming up, I don't expect to see much. I'm not going to take a trade before a lot of the news comes in. I will wait for some of the news to come out. But if I had to make a guess, I don't see a perfect setup today. Like yesterday was a pretty easy day to day trade. I was out actually golfing, so I did not catch the move until the 6 o'clock reopen because I golfed in the afternoon. So I missed out on some of this pure direction, but these are the days that all traders really love because it stayed below VWAP. The VWAP changed there, but it stayed below VWAP the entire day and had one direction. So all you really had to do once it defined the direction here at like 11 a.m. was take the short position and just hold on, right? And once it broke the pattern, once it broke that trend, you could exit it. But I would say most people didn't pick up on that trend right there. Most people picked up on it probably down in here somewhere. Once it broke below that level, came back up and retested, that's when a lot of shorts probably filled in. And then some people took their profit off, but it stayed in that trend pretty much all day. So those had diamond hands probably made out a lot better than those that sold off early. But again, position sizing and leverage in futures can change everything. You can sell 10 contracts here and make all the money you need, or you can sell 2 micros and ride the wave all the way down and end up in a similar situation. So we've broken that trend line. So now we're looking for a new setup or a new trend, if you will. I wouldn't say that this is a very accurate trend. Okay. I wouldn't say this is an accurate trend line just yet because it has very little. It's basically an overnight thing. And that's really right on VWAP. So I'm going to say we just delete that. Why won't it delete? Delete, please. There we go. Yeah, I'd be looking for this to do something between these two levels, the 25,350 and the 700 area. Now, the entries are going to be a little tighter because the news that's coming out is going to cause some swings. And I'm going to be looking for bounces off of VWAP, again, the blue line here. That guy right there. I'm going to be looking for entries. If it bounces off of it and continues away from it, those are typically the entries I can take. Or if it breaks below, comes back up and retests against it, I could take the short position. So looking to get this account funded in the next couple days, if it allows me to. Again, I have to hit 53,000 to do it. I'm only $582.20 into it. So let's see if we can do it. I like to trade 5 contracts of the micros. It allows me to get exposure, but also ride the waves out for an account of this size. Doing this size, you cannot lose $2,000. You can't have a $2,000 drawdown, basically. So trading one full-size contract can put you in that position pretty quickly, which is the same as 10 micros. But trading 5 micros allows me to be a half contract. So I can allow the market to breathe a little bit, and I can survive moves like this right here without getting cashed out. Whereas if I had one full-size contract on here or 10 micros, again, same thing there, I would be cashed out pretty quickly. So the entries have to be a lot tighter when you trade full size contracts, or you just simply buy the larger account, but you also have to make a lot more profit to do that. So it's all just what you're comfortable with. For these funded accounts, I like keeping the accounts relatively small and just focusing on scalping and getting clean entries with half size contracts or 5 micros, as I'm going to call them. So we will wait and see. Let's refresh the news feed over here. All right, U.S. ADP employment change was 42,000. The forecast was 30,000, and the previous was minus 32,000. So that, that is some good news. Now we are waiting for the U.S. Treasury QRA, which I'm not sure what that is. That comes out at market open. Trump's going to speak with Republican senators at market open, and then we'll get PMI at 9:45 and another PMI at 10, and then crude inventory stuff, but I'm not trading crude, so we will need to see how this plays out. Mm-hmm. 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 Mm-mm-mm-mm. So looking at this right now, I like to watch the RSI, which is the relative strength index. It is showing that it is close to being overbought, but it's not all the way there. I do like this, how it broke and it's retesting. Because we are just before market open, I don't know if we're going to have the strength to push up. So I think I may wait, but I am contemplating taking a smaller trade right here. But between all the news coming up and market open, I'm not confident that that is going to have the strength to actually bounce and push up to the next level. So yeah, might just wait. And this is the one of the hardest parts about trading. You know, it is only 9:08 a.m., so the market is not open. Futures markets are open outside of 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. East Coast time, Monday through Friday, and they close down Friday at 5 p.m. Really, kind of like 4 p.m. for this stuff, but they're technically closed at 5 p.m. East Coast time until Sunday at 6 p.m. So you can trade futures a lot more often. You can trade the news cycles and the events in the world compared to options. And stocks have gotten better with the 24-hour trading. So if you don't want to do leveraged trading, you can also do like this on like QQQ, the stock ticker QQQ. Would be the exact same thing, but it wouldn't be leveraged like this. You'd be owning the actual stock ticker, and it trades the exact same almost as this does. So if you're looking to do that, you can. Um, but again, futures are nice because they have liquidity and they have different um, constraints, how much capital you need. especially when you have a funded account like this. You pay $50 to pass a test, and then they actually give you $50,000 to play with. And if you turn a profit, you can cash out. So that's the temptation or the lure, that you're only risking $50 to make, maybe hundreds or thousands of dollars, not hundreds of thousands of dollars unless you're really consistent, but making hundreds or thousands of dollars in a risk on account that maybe you then blow, like I have in the past. I've been funded multiple times, probably $500,000 at this point I've been funded with. And some of those accounts have worked out. And then eventually some of them don't, because I size up in a position when it comes down like this. And then you get caught in a move that rips up like this and you lose the account. But when it's a risk on account like this is, I am okay with taking a little bit of that risk versus how I trade my normal money when I don't live stream. I won't take those risks or that leverage, so I can survive those drawdowns a little bit differently because I'm not as leveraged as I am in these futures accounts. Yeah, and that's kind of what I thought. It was going to be a little weak with the pre-market. All right, let's jump over and let's look at some of these other things here. Let's look at the micro ES, which is the micro S&P. Usually very similar to the NASDAQ, as you can see. I don't have my levels marked on here, so let's go ahead and make the levels together here. All right, on a 1 hour chart, you can see there's a level right up here at the very tippity top, which I like to mark. There is a level down here, which is very tightly correlated. So I'm going to put both on there, just because especially we're in between them right now. So we'll just call that whole area somewhere that needs to be broken out of. There's a level right there. You can see it touched here, here, here. Definitely going to mark the top. There's some kind of level like right in here. You can see it touched in here, touched in here, touched in this general vicinity. And let's mark down the lows. There is a level right down here that it is kind of broken out of, but it's also touched over here a couple times. I mean, this is all just chop in this area. I don't even know if I'd really want to mark a level there. There is a level up here, right in there. And there's nothing there. That's just... All right, let's mark a level down here. And again, this is just experience from doing it for many years that I can see relatively quickly where I need to put some levels for my trading style. I'll put a couple levels on that because that's choppy. All right, and then in terms of trends, let's go ahead and throw some trend lines on this. Trend line, there we go. Yeah, that's not the cleanest trend line. I'd be more inclined to say we have a trend currently like that. I'm focusing on this part right there, coming down and how it's kind of touched. So this could be a key rejection where we see more of a down pull or downturn. If it breaks through there, it could be pushing up to this level. Outside, I don't know if it's going to break above this level here, because that's a key level as well, but we might be able to get ahead and pull up from 68.10 to 68.50 on the micro S&P. Let's jump over to the NASDAQ and probably have the same exact marking there that I would like to add to the chart. I can delete these trend lines because they are non-existent. Actually, I'll just move this guy over and put him on the channel like that. And I always like to keep my trend lines a little bit on the outside just so that you don't get caught. I've learned that the more professional traders typically make their entries on futures where others put their stop losses. So if you had, in this case, a stop loss just above where this little thing is right here. Like you see these tall little wicks right here. Sometimes that is where the stop loss kicks in and people lose. Let's see. I don't have an example on this chart, but basically, if you were going to put a stop loss like right here, you were expecting a rejection, right? You've seen it come up here a bunch of times, and you're like, okay, I'll take a short position. I'll put my stop loss right here at this blue level. Well, guess what? It came up here, and now it's rejecting off of that, and it's likely coming back down. It absorbed some of that sell off, and now they are in the money, and you are out of the position, and it may come back down in favor. So that is just something I've noticed, and why I always put my trend lines and my levels at certain areas where my entries can be a little bit further away, more in the stop loss category. I can have tighter stops and I can have better entries because futures is all about your entries, unlike options, which is like time decay and you have a whole day to play those things out. I like that short setup there. It rejected off that trend line level. We are 15 minutes prior to open. We do have news coming out. Tell you what, I'm going
Order
to take a
filled.
short position here, guys. We're going to put the stop loss up there. I was yakking, and that trend line was very key. If you noticed, that trend line was right where it rejected. So let's go ahead and see if we can get anything out of this pre-market. I'm not sure how much it's going to move, how much it's going to fall. So I'm going to try to get a little scalp on this one and make it quick. Don't want to risk too much on a play like this. I like to extend this up so I can see a little better. I don't see a clear endpoint on this, so I got to make sure my math works with the risk to reward ratio here. This could easily pull back up and I could lose $100 pretty quick. So I'm trying to make sure I have enough drawdown room because this may only come back down to like there and have a $75 win on it. So I'm not loving the risk to reward. Let me put this like right there. Get it to a 750 profit guaranteed. See if it pushes. Might cash me out before it even moves. And that's okay. It's a quick scalp.
Order filled.
Okay. Made $7, whatever. Again, very risky trade, but if you catch one of these big candles, sometimes that can really work out. So and see, I was kind of in the right little spot there where it's pushing down to this level, but that level is so close. Um, it may work out, it may not, but I'd rather wait till market open. this is a good time in the 10 minutes prior that we have till market open to go grab yourself a coffee, use the restroom, whatever, and then be ready to rock from 9:30 till about 10:30, trading or being ready for the setups. I like to get at my desk around 8:50, do all this pre-market analysis so that I'm fully prepared, and then I have a couple minutes, like 5 or 10 minutes, just breathe. So this is the most boring segment of any live stream that I'm going to do because the volume is about to pick up at 9:30, but right now it's kind of that no trade zone where you're waiting to see what's going to happen when the market opens. So I might be quiet for the next couple minutes while I go ahead and look up a few other things here on the web. But if anybody jumps in this live stream and wants to talk in the comments or something, I'd love to have you. Again, this is not something I've done consistently in the past, but I'm trying to do more of it because I do this every single day. I know what I'm doing pretty well. I mean, I managed to make a full time living off of this for the past 3 years, and I made a full time living salary or income from this for like the past, gosh, I've been clearing six figures since like 2018 doing this. More with options than futures, but I am doing the same thing with futures that I am with options, trading the Nasdaq and the S&P, but the entries are a little different, so I am trying to get better at it. And if you want to know more about that, please leave a comment and let me know. I will happily make some videos and content, and I could download and digest all of the years of experience I have with this, and you can save yourself a lot of headaches wondering whether you should be trading options or futures or why you're winning at some and losing at others. I can tell you all the answers to that because I've been through it myself. So, yeah. Mm-mm. All right, guys, I'm stepping away for a couple minutes for a coffee refill. I will be right back before market open. All right, guys, I am back. What's going on? Market's about to open. Okay, bye. Let's do this. All right, everybody. So, looking at the setup that we had earlier here, it did bounce off my trend line pretty well. Could have stayed in that position, made a little more than the $7, but that's not a big deal. Again, market open is what I'm after. There is news coming at 9:30 and 9:45 and 10 o'clock. So we will be keeping an eye on those news events, along with seeing if it plays out in our trend lines and our levels. Just waiting for an entry. Today seems like more of a scalping day than a general trend day. Honestly, for all of our regular portfolios, I hope today is an upward trajectory recovery day, because the past couple days have been a little rough, as we may have all experienced. I know I have. In any investment portfolio that you're long, you just had a bit of a drawdown or snapback from when you were at your high a few days ago. So, things I'm going to look for here at market open: how it reacts to VWAP, and how it reacts to this level down here, and how it reacts to this trend line up here. If it breaks, I'm going to take a long position up to 711. If it rejects, I'm going to take a short position down here. In fact, I might even change that level real quick, because this level did break down to here. It just got washed in the middle. We'll leave it as is. All right, market open. Here we go. Pushing up against the trend line I have identified. Let's see if it holds or what happens. I typically like to watch the 5-minute candles, because these 1-minute candles like this, there's just so much that goes back and forth. So I like to trade the 5-minute candles and ride the trends a little differently. What was the news? Let's see if it has come out yet. It has not. General news: global stocks recovered as dip buyers stepped in following a sell-off in some of the biggest beneficiaries of the artificial intelligence boom, which is basically what we have seen so far. And now it looks like we are going to see a little bit of rejection sell-off from this bounce. Let's see. The short position may be the way to go. I'm going to take a
Order
short
filled.
position down to VWAP. I'm not going to risk a ton. I'm only going to risk like $100 on this one because it may pull up pretty quick.
Order filled.
Yep. Okay. Pulled up pretty quick, and that's okay. The first couple minutes of the market can be explosive, but it can also be a disaster. So sometimes it's worth the risk. On the 5 minute or the 1 minute candle, you can see just big swings. I don't like that about Top Step. Sometimes you have to zoom out to get the VWAP to actually be where VWAP is. That's a little frustrating. That's coming at 9:45. Yeah, the short position's still looking pretty solid. It's got to get through that level though to get down to the short. Now, this is the thing about futures. You have to have really clean entries, otherwise you can lose $500 really, really quickly. So you have to be patient. Uh, if you want to have a little risk on, like I do, this is why I do the prop firm stuff. Right now, this account is not funded. I am working to get it funded. So I'm going to be a little risk on, and I'm going to probably scalp a little more than long-term investing. This is not long-term investing for me. This is trying to gain a little competitive edge in the market when the market allows. So the in and outs and all this is um, a little different than a lot of other investing strategies. This is not like let's sit down and build a portfolio together. And just a lot of noise waiting for news. It's pretty common pre-news events to get noise. It's waiting for a clear direction. I still wouldn't be surprised if it pulls down to VWAP. I really wouldn't.
Order filled.
Short. I'm going to take it. There we go. A little $100 win. I'm going to stop it at 32, up 140, 170, 200. Bring that down because it could snap back pretty quick. 210. Does it continue? Does it not? We're going to find out in 1 second. There we go. 270, 260, 300. Yeah.
Order filled.
265 win there. That's a good way to start the day. All right, up to 738. One loser, one winner. Put in the chat. What was that? Trade. Let's see. I'll put a couple in there. 105 loser at 9:31 a.m. Let's see. Hopefully this helps the chat for those tuning in at a different time. Winner at what, 9:34. I won't even type in the 750. And then that was all yesterday. Yesterday had some big ones. Jump into the stats here. When I opened this account yesterday, here was yesterday. $85 loser, $475 winner, a couple small winners, $400 winner, and then a $260 loser around $835, and then today. So overall, this is pretty much how my typical trading goes. I have around a 70% win average across my real money and my funded account money. So my profit factor at 2.5 is really good. And hoping I can pass this evaluation here this week and get this account funded and then do more live streams with you guys. Let's see, I'll add to the chat up 738 60 yesterday. Target is 1,500 for before 3 p.m. today. All right. So what I put in the chat there was basically my target is $1,500 for this account before 3 p.m. today. Right now, we're almost halfway there at 7:38. And the reason I have to do 1,500 is because I cannot make $3,000 in one day and pass the evaluation at Top Step. You have to have at least 50% broken off. So you can do 1,500, and pass. Again, they're targets. It doesn't mean I'm going to cut it off right at 1,500. If I make 1,600, then awesome. If I make 1,400, awesome too. So excuse me one moment though. I got a phone call coming in. All right, there's a push up. Came very close to VWAP. See if it. Did I unmute myself? Yeah, okay, I'm off mute. Good. Learning this new software, EVMux. Never used it before. Always used, was it OBC or whatever that other live streaming thing is. Figured I'd try this web software out. So let me know in the comments below. Do I sound okay? I mean, I'm using my microphone and my camera and everything, but let me know. Engage. Let's trade together, guys. Let's trade together. Down so I can see just a little bit, and then you can only see today's trades anyways, so that works. Oh, neck is cracking. I don't know about you guys, but I'm 40 years old and my neck decides to crack a lot more in the morning than it used to. All right, so we're waiting for 9:45, 5 more minutes till major news comes out, and then there is more major news at 10 o'clock. These are the PMI news reports. The U.S. S&P Services PMI comes out at 9:45. The forecast is 55.2, and the previous was 55.2. And then at 10 o'clock, the U.S. ISM Services PMI comes out. The forecast for that is 50.8, and the previous was 50. So we are looking for a little move up there, I guess. And we're looking for the other one to stay exactly the same. So here in a couple minutes at 9:45 East Coast time, we were going to be looking for 55.2, and we will see how that affects the market. The employment change that came out at 9:15 was to the good side. So the labor is showing strong. And we are going to see what these PMI numbers come out as. I'll change up the music for you guys. The software allows me to do some of that. Let's try this one. I don't even know if we can hear it. There we go. don't want to have music blaring, especially in a live stream. You're trying to focus on doing trading and stuff. To help fill the silence in between all this, especially getting started, because I know this live stream has basically had only a few viewers tune in, and I have been live streaming here for 47 minutes now. I totally get it, totally understand the YouTube algorithm. I have multiple channels on YouTube that have thousands of subscribers. This is not one of them, so I'm trying to get this one going a little bit since I spend so much time in the finance world doing this off camera. I figured I'll just share some of it on camera because I have a lot of people that know I do this full time, and they're always asking me questions like, how do you do it? How do you get started? Who did you learn from? Did you go to school for this? How do I get started? So videos like this allow anybody to jump in when they have the free time to digest information like this and learn, see what I'm doing, see if it's for them. And I can tell you it's probably not. I don't mean that against anybody. Trading is hard. It is hard. There's so many levels to it. I remember the first week I traded, I was doing options. I mean, the first week I made $13,000 because I went in with no emotion. I was just thinking I was going to win. I had an edge. I executed and I won. Then I got a little euphoric. I wanted to scale up. I thought I was invincible, so I started doing the same stuff without all the news and information and key levels that I have now. And I lost all that money in the second week, like gone right away. It was very humbling to have so much success and then have it all stripped away, doing the exact same thing. And you start wondering to yourself, did I just get lucky? And how did I get that lucky? Was this like a casino, or what did other people know that I didn't? And you start going down this path, and then you start moving into the area of, will I ever do this again? Will I get lucky? What if I go down $13,000 and now I got to take my way out of it? It's a lot different than winning 13 and then losing 13. So there's emotional levels to all of this. Being able to execute, being able to understand the complexities of emotions and trading, and being able to shut all that off and take calculated risks where you put up $100 to make $300 or $500. You can sit on the sidelines. You can be bored. I usually jump into live streams of other people just to hear them talk and hear what they're looking at, just to keep my brain active as I'm sitting here getting bored. I actually have a desk that stands up, and I have a treadmill under here that sometimes I'll walk on just so that I can get some exercise rather than sitting here. So I'm not using that today because I don't want to be standing here bouncing around, making you guys sick for any of those that tune in. So yakety yak. I'm drinking a lot of coffee and I'm talking a lot. Sorry. All right, news in 1 minute. Not even. 4 seconds, 3 seconds, 2 seconds, 1 second. And the news says it's not moving the market too much. It's moving it up a little bit. That's good. Let's see. It still has to break this trend line and level for me, and I would like to see it break and come back down, retest that, and then push up before I take a long position. Otherwise, if it continues to bounce off of this, the short positions are the way to go today. Okay, U.S. S&P Services PMI final was 54.8. Not good. The previous was 55.2, so it came in lower. But let me see what that actually means. I'm not sure. That's one of those things I don't typically trade that event. This is the non-manufacturing ISM report on business, is based on data compiled from purchase and supply executives nationwide. An index reading above 50% indicates that the non-manufacturing economy in that index is generally expanding. Below 50 indicates that it's generally declining. Okay, so being 54.8, hey buddy, put it. Being 54.8 means it's not as strong as they'd hoped. They were hoping for 55.2. 54.8 is still expanding, but it's not as strong. So it's still good news. It's not as good as they were hoping. So that is one of the things that traders look for, especially. Whoop, here I am. Okay. That's one of those things traders look for edges, but that didn't move the market too much. the biggest thing right now people are looking for is the Fed going to cut the interest rate again in December, or are they done? Based on how Jerome Powell was talking when they just cut the rate down by a quarter point recently, he was saying it was not off the table, but certainly not a guarantee. I think the market's still pricing in something like 70% of a rate cut, which is very strong and aggressive. So we're going to have to see if there is a drawdown in all of this or how things are going. But we got to move here, guys. We got to move. It's pushing up. It has broken that trend line, which is good. Again, it's really close to the trend line, but I like that it is breaking that trend line. It's a significant step in the right direction. I'm going to see if it closes above it with a candle, retests it, and then we can go long. And by that, I mean basically like this. Like pretend this came up, came back down, bounced, it's all above it, then we could take a long position. But in this case, it was a trend down. So we're looking for the opposite here. The fact that it broke, it's awesome. It does not mean it's time to jump in, at least not for me. This could be just a little bit of a push up, and then it comes right back down. Does not mean a new trend has been fully established just yet. I'm going to move down to the 1 minute just to see if this takes on the trend line. It's looking healthy. It's looking healthy. Yeah, there it is. I like that. The 5 minute trend. Ooh, I'm getting a massive green candle off of this 5 minute. Solid move. Here's the retest, or maybe it just shoots up. I don't know. I've learned not to chase markets. Again, futures are not a chasing market thing. They are a defined perfect entry kind of thing because they're so leveraged. If you reduce the number of contracts, you can trade it a lot differently. But if you're going to do that, you almost might as well just trade the actual stock itself. Just my thought. We still have news at 10 o'clock. It's going to be another PMI report. Let me jump over here and read off what that is going to be. Oh, I'm sorry. That's the one I already read to you. That one at 9:45. The S&P Global U.S. Services Data Questionnaire, 400 service sector companies with the reading above 50 and indicating of an overall increase compared to the previous month. Yeah, so basically above 50, good, below 50, bad. But it didn't reach as high as the forecast was hoping for. So got a little bit of a fair value gap forming here, guys. This massive candle right here could have a buy zone right in this window, which is kind of what I'm watching. Again, it's that retracement. So if I can get something in there, that would be the entry. Let me see if I can jump over and share another window with you guys. Still learning this screen share thing. What screen? Let me see if I can edit. No. Settings. Nope, that's not it. Don't know how to do it. Anyways, I have TradingView open over here, and I have an indicator that shows the fair value gaps. A fair value gap is basically just an area where the candles were so explosive they didn't allow buyers and sellers to go through it equally. This giant candle here was just all buyers, so there could be some sellers in there that want to take different positions that didn't get their way. So we can have this pulling back into this range and then bouncing back through it. I'm sorry, I explained that terribly. Um, I don't think I explained the fair value gap well at all there. Basically, it's an area in which you can expect price to retrace into and then bounce back off of. So in this case, I expect this to come back down into this range, and then it would be an area for an entry to bounce off of, and I would have a stop loss right down here. That's a better way of explaining how I use fair value gaps. I shouldn't try to explain what they are exactly because I'm not an encyclopedia. I just know how to use them. All right, so the PMI definitely pushed things up, which is good. Shows the economy is still expanding, but at a slower rate. Yeah, it's pushing. Come on, I want to trade. Getting eager. One minute. Still chugging up there. Impressive, I will say. Especially with news coming at 10 o'clock here. I mean, I would love to go after this. I just don't want to chase this market right now and have it reverse down to my entry because then my stop loss will be just too wide. This is the boring part about trading, guys. This is where a live chat and a bunch of people all in one area makes trading way more fun, which is why I'm starting this. Yeah, I mean, the market's just going up. Never did the full retracement down to my trend line, so this is good though. I mean, this is good for a lot of different reasons. The market going up is always good. Just more and more buyers plowing in. This now is looking like it could go from there down to here, or it could go up to this level at the 710 area and pull back down. Not in love with that 710 level though. I will say that doesn't look perfect. More like there. Yeah, that's more like 725. May push all the way up there and then come back down. May just rip through it all. Don't know. But I'm going to see what we can extract from this. My goodness. This doesn't happen very often. It happens, don't get me wrong, but like this doesn't happen all that often, especially from news like what just came out. This is just a lot of people being eager, driving the market one direction, which is why I'm not chasing. You'll see a big candle. Eventually, usually, I should say, you'll see a big candle retrace this and all these people collecting their profits. And that's what I'm waiting on. The better entry. Mm-mm-mm-mm. 5 minutes and then news. After this, it's only crude inventory stuff, so we may be able to get another trade or two out of this. Again, up $738 right now from 6 p.m. through 9:56 a.m. And that is across, I don't know how many trades. Let's see. Like, I don't know, 10? How many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 trades. Had 3 losers in there and the rest winners. So, cool. Everybody's positive right now on the tilt.
Order
Let's put
filled.
it on. Let's see what happens. Let's see if I get absolutely burned. Put this stop loss way up here. All right, we're guaranteed $15 profit.
Order filled.
Okay, made $15. Yep. Woohoo. I just don't want to see a big red candle come out and stomp out my work. I would be more upset by that than missing out on a push up like this. I'm okay with the push up. That is what it is. I think we could see this come all the way up to the 722s. But again, we have news in 2 minutes and 7 seconds. So let's see what happens, because that could be the extra nudge we needed to get back up, or it could be the reversal. I think we'll call this live stream over here in a little bit after all this news comes out. I usually trade till 10:30, something like that. So if you want to dive into this kind of stuff with me, please tune in around 8:50. I tend to do a pre-market analysis, go through what I'm looking for in the day, and then around 9:15, 9:20, take a 15-minute break where we're still on the live stream, but I get a cup of coffee. If you need to use the restroom, whatever, do it. And then you're prepared when the market opens at 9:30 to get in here and trade for an hour and make $1,000 or something for the day and move on. So that is what it's all about. Still have good momentum going up. That's awesome. I love to see that from my long portfolio. Right now, you don't have to be a futures trader to make money. You just have to be long in the market to get this recovery. So that's awesome. All right. 32 seconds until the next cycle of news comes out. Mm-hmm. 10 seconds. Let the market play out for a moment here. I don't have the super live feed of news, so I'm going to wait to see how the market reacts and get the news, and then take a position and ride it for maybe 15 minutes or so. $52.4, really good news. Well above the 50.8, meaning that things are generally expanding at a much better pace. Awesome. That could be the news to propel this market even higher today. I'm going to take the long position here in just a moment when I see this candle settle. I think this is going to be good. Some of these people may be taking their profits. We have entered an area of no more news at a level. And this could easily come back down and retest just because the news came out and everybody was so excited by the first one. They've already made their trades. So Let's take a look at the micro S&P. Okay. Ooh, this is looking clean here, guys. We are right above it, retesting off of this level, above the trend line. I like this. Make sure to change over micro S&P on the contract and have it on the chart. I won't take
Order
long.
filled.
I'm gonna take long on the S&P, guys. I like it. Put our target up here at like 475. Put our stop loss down here at like 200. It could retrace down just because it had such a massive run up. But yeah, I like the setup. I like that it's broken that level. The only thing I don't like about it is that it's a bit overextended and it was all fair value gapped. So this whole area is kind of like a buyer's bouncing area. Now, let's pull this down to like 300. Let's risk 300 for it. Just because I think my entry was a little late. And I'm up 750 on the day. So if I lose 300 on a good trade, it's not a perfect entry, but it's a good trade, in my opinion, because it's defined by all my levels and it's broken the trend line and everything. So I'd like to move that 300 up as soon as possible when it breaks into profit. Not too early. There we're up $12 and stuff. There we go. There's 37.60. With the press of a button, I can move my break even. But I usually want to see it move away a little bit more. We'll do that. We'll put it at $18. So locked in $18, climbing 60, 75. I hope it just pushes back up there. Gives us one clean trade, and then we will be pretty much done for the day because we'll be close to our, we'd be at what, $1,200? If it doesn't work out, I'll collect my $18.75 minus my $4 or so in commissions, $3.70 I think is what it takes. And I'll wait for a re-entry in this fair value gap down here.
Order filled.
Okay, cashed out for an $18 win. Little baby wins. Still like the trade though. Still like the trade. I want to get back in. I'm going to hate it. I'm going to see this green candle go way up there. I'm going to hate it myself right now. I'm getting
Order
back
filled.
in. I'm going to let it go. I like the trade. Yep. There we go. Come on. Could this be the push? This could be the push. Come on. Get us up there. There we go. There we go. Sometimes you just got to be a little more patient. I'll lock in 106 of it if it reverses. We're at 180. Come on, baby. Just following it up, securing some of this profit. The strength is some weak, I'm sorry. The strength
Order
is
filled.
not entirely there today. So I'm just locking it in a little tighter than I normally do. All right. 212 50. Putting in the chat all the trades at 10:06 a.m. All right, chat. I'm going to, or chat, or viewers, anybody tuning in. This has been a long live stream. Thanks for tuning in. Hopefully, you guys learned something. I will be back live tomorrow as well. We are finishing the day up $973. Happy with that. You know, target was $1,500 or less, but I will take $973. That'll only take like 3 days to get funded if I can continue doing that. So I think the general trend today could be a push up for the S&P. I'm just not going to sit here and do it. Been trading long enough and I can feel the mental fatigue kind of setting in. So once I feel that happening, I like to back away, step away, and call it a day, just because I'm not going to be upset if it continues to push up. I will be upset if I've worked this hard to make nearly $1,000 and then I take a long position and it reverses back down because I'm just getting greedy and I want to hit targets. So I know when to call it quits for myself emotionally and mentally more than emotionally. And this is going to be it. So thanks for tuning in. Please like and subscribe so that YouTube pops up and shows you when I go live each day. I'm going to try to do this consistently for everybody. And leave me comments, notifications, questions, whatever you want to hear about, learn about, talk about. And let's just build a community together and